jest, of course. I ran into your servant. He said, "You feared me not."
There is nothing to fear. You or you, ninja.
Funny. You are better than I remember. But still predictable. Predict this.
Alright, Shalom. First thing and foremost, I'm going to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Rakakadash. Double honors be to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect, those in the gospel abroad. Living of the study of Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, wherever it may be. This is just a quick lesson, man. Folly is setting great dignity. Here you have on RT News, it said 2 ninjas fight to the death, which was clickbait, obviously. You know, like I just read in the comments, it said that basically they were trolling the people of Babylon, which that could be very well true, because in the midst of a pandemic, and you got people that's on edge, you know, due to partying over the holiday weekend and not adhering to social distancing according to Esau's constituents. This is just straight folly, you know, because out of all the madness that's happening in the world, from the storms to the economic collapse and to the downfall of Babylon the Great, which is aka America, you know, these people, they have nothing else better to do at their time. And the fact that you can put out a video finger fighting, that shows you that you have no time. You have too much time on your hands, you know, because this society is collapsing. The Most High is bringing judgment to Babylon, man, and He's raising up His servants, okay, through affliction and endurance and patience and temperance. But nonetheless, you got Esau Edom out here that's playing games. You know what? Because hey, he's living out the final moments of his kingdom. Okay, so this is the book of Ecclesiastes, the 10th chapter, and I'm gonna start at verses 5. It says, "There's an evil which I have seen under the sun, as an arrow which proceeded from the ruler." Okay, and the ruler of the society right now is Esau Edom, because what? He promotes folly, he promotes degeneracy, he promotes debauchery, he promotes anything that's negated of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai. All right, because he's basically the anti-Mashiach, which is a form of, or what you say, the antichrist, but it's not one particular person. Okay, because he's against Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai's law, statutes, and commandments. Therefore, he go about setting his own righteousness, and therefore the world follows him. But it says, "Folly is set in great dignity, and the rich sit in a low place." And that's the spirit, because watching that video, that's a low thing. Okay, and the fact about it that they're broadcasting on a national news station, or RT News, which is a somewhat renowned news broadcasting service, which tells you about world events, economic turmoils. You know, they so-called expose the West and things of that nature. But nonetheless, man, this is just straight BS. Okay, there's nothing righteous about it, and it's folly. Because like I said, out of all the things in the world, they're not televising that America is going to be destroyed. They're not telling you about the famine, the pestilence, though they may speak on it from time to time, sporadically, but through the spirit, they're trying to do damage control. Okay, in the midst of this, what you call Memorial Day weekend, which is a complete joke. You know, you got these people out here that's celebrating and living life to the fullest, you know, not knowing that this is all set up for the downfall of Babylon and you people. Because now that you people aren't adhered to social distancing, which allows the government to bring in more austerity measures. You know, like I was watching a news clip from the brother from South Carolina. He uploaded a clip of different states and how they wasn't observing social distancing. Hey, the people, man, they're going to be ready to accept the mark of the beast. You know, because if they want to get back to what they call normal, hey, they're going to take the chip and the vaccination. Because for the simple fact that they opened up all these different places over the weekend to celebrate Memorial weekend, that justifies Esau Edom as to manipulating his number from COVID deaths. Like I believe it went up from like 100,000 or something like that. which is over like 1 million cases, but they said over 100-something thousand was afflicted or affected by this virus. So the more that they allegedly open up your economy and your society, they're gonna justify and they're gonna manipulate the numbers behind COVID-19, so they can be forced to bring it in the vaccination. So hey, don't be surprised. 4th of July weekend, Labor Day weekend, hey, they may say, look, things are back to normal. Restaurants, bars, they're open. Okay, do as you please. And they're not gonna force social distancing because they need to manipulate the numbers, because they're gonna say, well, look, we can't tell these people to stay in the house, but people are getting sick, they're lying about the numbers, and then therefore, hey, here come the vaccination. Because Trump, he has something which is called Operation Warp Speed, which he wants to administer or expedite an antidote to vaccinate people, which is going to tie into the mark of the beast system to some form of fashion. And they got sleeper cells that go about watching the people, and they give like a how can I say it, not a census, or a census, so to speak. They give a journal or some type of document fact on how many people are doing what. They're observing the people. They're called sleeper cells. They blend among people, you know, and they act as normal civilians, but yet they're taking notes on how the people that's reacting to relay it back to government officials, so they can be justified on passing draconian laws. Okay, so like I said earlier, don't be surprised when the 4th of July comes along. Hey, people gonna turn the hell up, because they're not gonna enforce social distancing over a weekend getaway, especially if these holidays fall on a weekend. They're not gonna enforce social distancing. Why would they? Because for the simple fact, they can lie about this pandemic, and they can say, you know what, people wasn't wearing masks, they was close, less than 6 feet apart. Hey, we got another 100,000 cases that skyrocketed over the weekend, okay, which is causing them to redact on certain things that they said to be justified on manipulating numbers. And yet you got videos of finger fucking ninjas, man. Okay, let's go back to verse 5. It says, there's an evil which I have seen under the sun, as an error which proceeded from the ruler, and folly is set in great dignity, and the rich sit in a low place. And we are in a low place because Esau Edom, which is the so-called white man, hey, he has his world on his thumb. You know, he's making the laws, he's making the rules, he's making the regulations. You know, he's passing different draconian laws to bring in his new world order. But what he don't know is that the Most High is getting ready to put him in a trick bag. And at the same time, he's building up his elect through these different afflictions and going through certain turmoils to endure and to adapt to these different situations. Because believe it or not, brothers, when you go through certain trials, as I gave a slight testimony in my last video, Lord's will, I can come back and do a follow-up in a better spirit and Salakia, because I listened to the video and there was a lot of background noise. I didn't know that the TV picked up on the video because I was sitting outside on the balcony as I was recording. So Salakia to you brothers out there that may didn't understand, or you couldn't really get a good insight on the video. But if the spirit hops upon me, hey, when I'm in a better state of mind and a spirit, should I say, I'll come back and do a more thorough lesson. Because right now, man, I'm just in the spirit. The spirit's having me to teach and to just, keep pressing forward from what I know. Even though, like the scriptures say, the flesh is weak, but the spirit is willing. All right, because at the end of the day, your spirit is going to be what gets you through the hard times. And the faith and belief in Yahweh Shem Yahushai. All right. But it says here, and I've seen great folly is set in dignity, and the rich sit in a low place, and we are in a low place. So anyway, let me find the next precept. Let's just read it. Alright, so this is the book of Ecclesiastes 4:1. It says, so I returned and consider all the oppressions that are done under the sun. Okay, and then you look on the planet Earth. Esau, he rules this kingdom, this world with an iron fist. I mean, even though Jake is on the bottom and catching the most hell out of all the other nations, the Ishmaelites are still oppressed. Elamites, the Hamites, because they're testing different viruses on Ham. Even Esau Edom oppresses his own people, because if you talk to a common white person or Edomite, they'll say, look, I ain't got no money, I'm catching all types of hell. Which even the worst case Edomite is pretty much better off than a better case Jake, because at the end of the day, white privilege prevails. But it says here, that are done under the sun, and behold, the tears of such as were oppressed, and they had no comforter. And on the side of the oppressors there was power, but they had no comforter. Right? And this goes into you Jakes out there that like to sell out. Okay, because for the simple fact, a lot of you people that kind of give yourself over to Esau Edom, you lie in bed with them, at the end of the day, This man has the power. He runs the shots. He runs your government and undermine all your dictators and your regimes. And it says, wherefore I praise the dead which are already dead more than the living which are yet alive. Right? Because, hey, to be dead is to be in the spirit realm. To be alive in this kingdom is to be dead. Because even going back into the woman, the scriptures say, hey, she that liveth in pleasure is also dead while she liveth. Okay, so these people, they have the illusion of being alive, but they're dead on the inside. Okay, because they need the material things of the world, like the video that you just saw, which was a complete waste of time. Okay, clickbait or troll. You know, that's a dead state of mind right there. Okay, because most people, they operate off their material blessings or their material wealth, or things they can perceive with the eyes and not with the spirit. You know. Okay, but it says, but yea, better is he than both which have not yet been, who have not seen the evil work that is done under the sun. Okay, so there you go, man. It's better to not be born in a society such as this, but nonetheless, we all must live out our judgment. We must go through our several afflictions, many the men of the Lord to be found worthy of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. And it says, and again, I consider all travail in every right work, that for this is a man envied of his neighbor, this is also vanity and vexation of spirit. Okay, we made the point on that. But this is the book of Ecclesiastes 2:1. It says, and I said in my heart, go to now, and I reprove thee with mirth. Therefore enjoy pleasure, and behold, this is also vanity. So Solomon, what he did, and just like with the women, he did a test study, a survey study. Like when you look at those different videos or those different commercials, when they say, well, look, we want to call you in, we give you $9,000 to conduct a survey or some type of study on this particular drug and see the outcome. So he did an assessment to see how people react in certain situations based on their minds and where their spirits lie. Okay, and it says here, and I will prove thee with mirth, which mirth is clubbing, you know, popping bottles and champagne, which is nothing wrong with having fun, but over enjoyment in those things can lead to ultimate downfall. You know, always looking for the next best thing instead of, you know, mourning in the house of the Most High, instead of looking at the things of the spirit with a contrite mind and heart. And it says, and therefore enjoys pleasure, and behold, this is also vanity. And I said of laughter, it is mad, and of mirth, what does it? And I sought in my heart to give myself into wine, yet acquainting my heart with wisdom. That's right, man, because, hey, through the spirit, yeah, we may want to turn up, but the spirit always takes over. Like right now, man, I wanted to do a show today. I needed to do a show, because through the spirit, I sat down, you know, and I was just laying in bed. I went out, I walked, and I was just kind of meditating on everything, because you're lined up with 3 other people, and they don't know the truth. They're not in the spirit. A lot of that negative energy weighs on your spirit. And on top of that, you're thinking about the possible outcomes that Esau Edom can try to turn around and switch into their favor instead of yours based on situations. It weighs on your spirit, but the spirit had me to go into the lessons anyway, you know, because I know brothers, you know, me, I, you know, just through my spirit, I like to, you know, be diligent in the work. I like to put out different lessons and so forth early throughout the day, but I'm just not getting to it. And this was a spiritual thing. My flesh didn't want to do it because I was tired. You know, I was kind of trying to get in a relaxed spirit, but I had to break that, you know, because, hey, this thing ain't about being relaxed, you know. And it says here, and I've given my heart over, given myself over to wine, and yet acquainting my heart with wisdom, and to lay hold on folly, till I might see what was that good for the sons of men, which is the other nations, which they should do under the heaven all the days of their life. That's right, you know. So Solomon, he did an assessment. This is why he was the wisest king in the world, because he lived as the other nations, but at the same time lived as an Israelite, to see how the other nations looked at the ways of the world versus how the Israelites looked at the ways of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. So he lived as the other servants and compared and say that these people are heathens. They're low. They can live in all this pleasure. They can do all this wickedness and debauchery, but at the end of the day, they're not going to get the kingdom of the Most High. That's why the book of Ecclesiastes is so beautiful. It's so spiritual, man. It's beautiful, man, because it's based on assessment studies, you know. And Solomon, which was the wisest man at that time, hey, he carried out the assessments. He has the examples here for us to read. So when brothers, they're worried about, oh, I ain't got the money, or I want to turn up like a rock star, hey, go into the book of Ecclesiastes and read what Solomon did and look at his outcome. Because are you more wiser than Solomon? Fuck no. He knows, okay? And you think your outcome is going to be any different than his? Especially if he's coming in the same name that we're coming in the name of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai? No. Okay? So anyway, with that, I'm going to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. And with that, shalom and above.
me not.
There is nothing to fear from you or your ninja.
Folly.